Hi guys, today we are going to talk about multiplying fractions. So bear with me as this is my first time doing a Zoom video. And there may be distractions. So here we go. All right. So make sure that you have a piece of paper and a pencil or pen or whatever you like to write with. Make sure you have that ready so you can follow along with me and take notes. Okay, step one. Let's go back and remind ourselves how to multiply basic fractions, fractions less than one whole. So, for example, 3/4 times 7/8. Okay, go ahead and pause the video at this point so that you can write down the multiplication problem. Okay, welcome back. So remember, when we're multiplying fractions, you do not have to find a common denominator. You simply multiply straight across. So just multiply your numerators and multiply your denominators. So what is 3 times 7? 21. And now let's find our denominator. What is 4 times 8? You're correct. 32. Now, when I first see this fraction, these are pretty big numbers. So the first thing I would think in my brain is this has to be able to be reduced or simplified somehow. So whenever you see a fraction that you think has to be reduced or simplified, what do? Find the factors. So remember, we ended up with 21 30/2, and we're asking ourselves, can that fraction be reduced? Well, let's find the factors of the numerator and the denominator and see if there's anything in common. So the factors of 21 are, of course, 1 and 21, and 3 and 7. The factors of 32 are, of course, 1 and 32, 4 and 8, and 2 and 16. So no, there are no common factors between 21 and 32. Therefore, that fraction is done. It cannot be reduced or simplified because it does not have any common factors. Okay, let's try another problem. Moving on. Next, let's try 3/4 times 7 wholes. Now this one is different than the last problem because it does begin with a fraction less than the number 1, which is 3/4, but it wants you to multiply it by a number bigger than the number 1. It wants you to multiply by 7 ones or 7 wholes. So go ahead and pause your video now and write this down on a piece of paper. We're back? All right. So there's a couple things you can do. What I taught you was to multiply the whole number times the numerator. That would be 3 times 7. And then bring over your denominator. But what Miss Greenberg taught you, and this is a strategy that I think that you should continue to use because you're going to need it when you do hours of sound. What Miss Greenberg taught you was anytime you see a whole number with a fraction, put it over a 1. Okay, so if my whole number was 8, the fraction for 8, put it over 1. If my whole number was 52, put it over 1. Okay, what if I had 8 eighths? What does that equal? Everyone? Yep, 1 whole. Good, and 50 halves? That's right, still the number 1. So whenever I have a whole number, to change a whole number to a fraction, I just put it over the number 1. Whole number, change it into a fraction, put it over the number 1. Okay, so let's go back to our problem. 3/4 times 7 wholes. Remember what we do whenever we're multiplying fractions? Do I have to find a common denominator? No. Easy peasy. I just multiply straight across. What is 3 times 7? 21 is our numerator. And 4 times 1. 4 is our denominator. Now, looking at this problem, or looking at this answer, I see that I have ended up with an improper fraction, also known as fractions greater than the number 1. Why is it greater than the number 1? Because 4/4 equal the number 1, and this fraction is greater than 4/4. Therefore, improper fractions are also known as fractions greater than 1. Anyhow, we can't leave it that way. I mean, we could, but we don't want to. We want to change it into a mixed number. So how do we do that? We divide, my friends. This is why learning long division was so important, so that we could apply it to fractions. So here we go. 4 goes into 21. Oh, go ahead and pause the video and write this down. As you pause it, I'm going to write it a little bit bigger. Okay, let's try it again. 4 goes into 21. How many times? Right, 5 times. 5 times 4 gives me 20. Subtract, and I'm left with the number 1. Are there remainders and fractions? No. The remainder becomes my numerator, and my divisor becomes my denominator. Sorry, kiddos, I haven't used math academic language in 5 weeks. So my final answer to 3/4 times 7 wholes is 5 1/4. So this was a little bit of review for you guys. The next video I'm going to be posting is going to be multiplying mixed numbers. So in this video, we multiplied fractions, and we multiplied fractions by a whole number. But you should have already remembered how to do those. If you didn't, that's okay. There's videos out there on Khan Academy and YouTube that will help remind you, or you could just watch my video again and again and again and again. Next, we will look at how to multiply mixed numbers. Now, if you are watching this video because you're struggling with the activity called Hours of Sound, Hours of Sound is about a young man. His name is Vijay, and Vijay has something called an MP3 player. Let me show you what an MP3 player is for all you youngins out there. This is an MP3 player. When I was in my 20s, this is how we listened to music. When I was a teenager, I listened to my Walkman, and I would put a cassette tape into my Walkman and listen to it. But then when I went into my 20s, they came out with MP3 players where I could download music, and it was incredible. So this is an MP3 player, and our friend from Hours of Sound, Vijay, he has one of those, and he has lots of music on his MP3 player. He has jazz, rock and roll, and hip hop. So using multiplying fraction equations, see if you can figure out how much music he had on his MP3 player. I will teach you how to do it in the next video, and then I will see you on Thursday so we can share our answers to Hours of Sound. Okay? All right, to finish off my video, I am going to try to make a basket with my improper fractions in that hoop behind me. All right, here we go. Kobe. See you later.